Hello, and welcome back to the Blogger Genius podcast. I'm your host, Jillian Leslie, founder of Milo Tree. If you haven't heard, Milo Tree is your all-in-one suite for growing your online business. It includes Milo Tree Cart, the easiest way to sell digital products in under 5 minutes, Milo Tree Leads, which allows you to collect email subscribers by offering unlimited freebies, and the Milo Tree pop-up app for boosting your social media followers. I'm excited to announce that we've just launched Milo Tree Leads exclusively to our Milo Tree Cart Lifetime Deal VIPs at an incredibly low monthly price. They've started using it and they love it. Before we roll out Milo Tree Cart and Milo Tree Leads as a subscription service, you can still grab Milo Tree Cart for our lifetime deal of $349 and get Milo Tree Leads for an unbelievably low price. This offer won't last, so head to milotree.com, sign up today, and for these last lifetime deal customers, you get a bonus 1-hour coaching call. Again, head to milotree.com and sign up. Okay, let's get into today's episode because it is all about growing your Instagram followers. I am interviewing Bulgarian vegan and vegetarian food blogger Petra Atanasova. Her food blog is called Sunglow Kitchen, and she grew her Instagram followers from 2,000 followers to over 100,000 followers in, get this, 4 months. I couldn't believe it, and so I had to bring her on the show. Petra goes into how to create successful reels, and she's really grown her account by creating like 3 reels a week. It's amazing what she's been able to accomplish, and you will want to have a pen and paper ready because she is going to go step by step. She shares how to come up with a theme for a series, how to add movement into your reels, how to add voiceover, and how to get inspired by other people's reels in your niche. So if you have been hoping to grow your Instagram following, if you're frustrated with Instagram, this is the episode for you. So without further delay, here is my interview with Petra Atanasova. Petra, welcome to the Blogger Genius podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Jillian. I'm such a big fan of your podcast, so it's really nice that we get to chat today.
Yes, and I get to see you. So, okay, let's start with where are you located?
I'm located in Bulgaria.
Which I think is so cool. I love this about the internet. You could be in Bulgaria, I could be in Austin, and we could be looking at each other having this conversation.
Yes, amazing.
So you reached out to me, you're a food blogger, and you said, hey, I grew my Instagram account to over 100,000 followers in something like 4 months. Would this be interesting to talk about on your show? And I'm like, okay, well, send me this, a link to your blog and a link to your Instagram to make sure what you're telling me is true. And then when I looked, I was like, oh my God, Petra, yes, I do want you to come on my show and share all your strategies and how you were able to do this. But before we launch into that, will you share a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey and how you became a food blogger and where you are today?
Of course. It's a long story, but I'll try to make it short. So I used to be a dishwasher at a plant-based cafe. And at that time, I was vegan myself and was really curious how the chefs were making vegan cheese and vegan meatballs and all of those stuff. And so I started asking them to teach me. I got really close with one of the chefs. He taught me a lot of things. Probably everything I know comes from him. And at some point, a position opened, and I started working as a chef at that cafe, even though I had no education and no experience. My boss was kind of like crazy for doing this, but she took me on. And I started working as a chef for a few years until I hit burnout. It's very long shifts for not a lot of money, and my health was wrecked from standing all day, working in that stress. And that's when the pandemic came and the place I was working at closed. And so I was left with no job and I had so much time and I had a little bit of savings. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna start the blog that I've always wanted to start. This is the perfect time. And at first, I started on, I think it's Blogspot, Google's free platform for websites. And I started on that for a few months. I had no idea what I was doing. I was posting random recipes on this free platform. I was promoting it on Instagram, but nothing was working. And after a few months, I was like, okay, let me buy a course and learn about this, which the course wasn't really that good. But the one thing it taught me was that I need to get my blog on WordPress and I need to get into SEO. And I got my blog on WordPress and I started learning what is SEO, how do I optimize my blog. And then I bought the course, Cooking with Keywords. Have you heard of it?
Yes.
Cooking with Keywords. Yeah. And once I got that course, it was pretty revolutionary for me because it just made so much sense why nothing was working before that. And once I started doing proper keyword research, once I started optimizing my posts, optimizing my blog, I started to build traffic. And eventually I made it into Mediavine, which was my biggest dream. And I was so happy once I was in there. And everything was good. I was living honestly my best life until Google hit me with an algorithm update and I lost 70% of my traffic.
No, when was this? When was
And
this?
so this was in March, no, in December of last year of 2023.
Did you
In
wake up
December,
one
which
day? Wait, did
Q4 is
you wake
supposed to
up?
be.
Did you wake up one day and see your
No, it
traffic?
was slowly going down. It was slowly going down, down, down. And sooner rather than later, I figured out if it's gonna keep going down, I need to do something about it. And that's when I signed up for an audit with Casey Markey, which was a few months later. But in the meantime, while I was waiting, I was like, I need a second source of income. I was dependent only on Google and one freelance client for all of my money. And, and so I was like, I'm gonna start Instagram and I'm gonna set a goal for myself. By the end of the year, I want to have 100,000 followers.
And when you started, how many followers did you have?
I had less than 2,000 followers.
You had less than 2,000 followers. So
Yes.
you go, my goal is to grow my Instagram followers and start making money from Instagram. And when I say, how did you think you would start making money from Instagram?
Uh, my biggest goal was to start working with brands and do brand partnerships, and also to create my own product, to create an ebook or some kind of course, because I knew that I can only continue with one source. As I said, I can only rely on brand partnerships or rely on Google. I need to have my own product. And yeah.
Okay, that again, diversifying your income streams is very smart. So
Yes.
so you say, I'm going to start on Instagram. Did you decide I'm going to take a course? Did you just like, what was your thinking? And was this pie in the sky thinking that you could grow it?
Yeah, okay, great question. So at that time, around that time that I was thinking of growing my Instagram, I met a friend. Her name is Cecilia Ivanova. She's doing art and drawing. I'm just saying, in case anyone is interested, you can check her out. And she has been an amazing influence. So I met her, and she was like, I have 160,000 followers, and I got them in a few weeks from a few videos that have gone viral. And I was like, I didn't even know that was possible. And she was like, you can do it too. She motivated me and she was like, I'm gonna help you reach that milestone. And yeah, it was kind of like having this example that it was possible, that I was like, okay, she did it for a few weeks, maybe like 2 months. I'm gonna do it for a year. That's like, sounds achievable.
Okay, and what was her name again? Because it kind of broke up, so people want to
Yeah.
see who she is.
Yeah, it's Cecile Ivanova.
Okay, Cecile Ivanova.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Okay, so what does she say? Go do this. What do you start doing?
So she was like, you need a strategy and I'm going to help you develop it. So, first of all, I picked when I was going to post, how many times a week, and I was going to stick to that no matter what. And I picked to upload 3 videos a week, which was what worked for me. Later, we're going to talk about more about what's the minimum of posting, what's the maximum, and stuff like that. But I stuck to 3 times a week. And what I did that led me to where I'm now is I created a really successful recipe series about what I eat as a professional chef. And what was very the key things in that series was 3 things: a very appealing visual, a strong hook, and providing value for people. And I'm gonna break them down one by one. So the first one, appealing visual, I feel like that's kind of self-explanatory, but you need something to hook the user before they can hear what you're saying, or what kind of music is playing. They need to be hooked immediately with what they're seeing. So in order to do that, I always start my videos with some kind of movement. So your video shouldn't start with something static. It should be something engaging, maybe you slicing into a watermelon, or it can also be something pretty simple, but it needs to look delicious. It needs to say to the user, this video is worth watching. And after the first 3 seconds, if you can hook them with that appealing visual, they're gonna continue watching. Okay, so adding movement, it doesn't even need to be like a very aesthetic visual. I've actually noticed that most of my videos that have gone viral are not like super aesthetic. They're kind of actually me in my kitchen being very relatable, because that's what people want to see. They want to see you in your home, in your kitchen. They want to feel like they're there with you when you're cooking your food, right?
When you say you in your kitchen, is it your face? Is it your hands? What does that mean? You in your kitchen,
Yeah,
and
so
then how do you add movement?
yes. So sometimes it will be me chopping something. Sometimes it will be me stirring the pot of this delicious pasta, or sometimes it's swirling up some spaghetti on the fork. Sometimes it's biting into something, or maybe, like I said, if you have a huge cauliflower head, you're cutting into it, you're adding movement. Sometimes I have had a few videos that start with me talking, but immediately after that, it needs to be followed by some kind of movement. Putting something in a bowl, or dipping a piece of bread into sauce. You get the idea.
Got it. Okay.
Yes. The second thing was a strong hook. So what I did that I think was very smart was to establish authority. So my most successful series, as I said, is what I eat as a professional chef when I'm hungry and tired after work, right? And so right out the gate, I'm establishing authority. I'm saying, I'm a professional chef, and that's kind of giving people a reason to care about what I'm gonna say. So if you can establish some kind of authority, even if you're not a chef, you can say, I've heard people say, I'm a vegan personal trainer, or you can say, that's for my niche. I've been vegan for 10 years, and this is what I like to make when I'm craving X. Or you could say, even, I've been a recipe developer for X amount of time. And if you can establish authority, that will immediately hook the viewer in.
Now, here's my question. Are you saying this in the videos? Is this in the text? Where, given that you've got this short time to hook your viewer, and I get it, you got the cauliflower head or the watermelon, you're cutting into it, you're going to make something that's going to make me viscerally want to watch this, right? Because it's tapping into a variety of, almost like I can smell it, right? I can taste it. But
Exactly.
then are you going, hi, I'm Petra. Here's my authority. Here's why you should follow me. Like, where does that piece of information come in so that I am continuing to watch your video?
Yeah, so I have found that I've actually never said follow me for X, Y, and Z because I feel like people need to naturally want to follow you. And if you say follow me, they follow you, they're not gonna follow you because you told them to. They're gonna follow you because they want to. So what I'm doing, I'm starting my video and I'm saying immediately, as soon as possible, that I'm a professional chef. And you can do that even a little bit later, but preferably in the first 5 seconds, you need to say your authority, right? And can we circle back to your question?
Yeah.
Did I answer it?
Yes, but wait. So literally in every video you're making, you're going, here's the visual, and then you're saying, I'm a professional chef.
Yes, exactly. It's a voiceover, so I'm showing the food. Mostly, I have only 1 to 2 shots of me eating most of the time and smiling at the camera. But it's a voiceover, and immediately when the food starts, I'm saying, I'm a professional chef. That's the first thing I say. I'm a professional chef, and this is what I eat after a long day at work.
And you're saying that same thing in all the videos?
Yes, just for those series, you can actually turn it into your brand and do it for 90% of your videos. I've seen people do that. But for me, I've also found that it's good to have some creative freedom and upload some other recipes that are not related to me being a chef, maybe something that I like, something that's in season. But for those specific series, I always open with, I'm a professional chef. And lately, I've started doing it with some newer videos. I would say it even if it's not part of the series, but I still have to somehow relate to me working in a kitchen, and having that expertise, right?
Got it.
So say it as soon as possible in your
Got it.
video.
Got it. Okay. And now
Yes.
the next piece.
Yes, the next piece. So I actually have something more to say about the hook. If you don't have an expertise, what you can do is start telling a story that's gonna engage the user. So one time I did, when I first met my boyfriend, he was scared of eating tofu because he thought he would get man boobies. And that really engaged the people. They were writing comments, they were messaging me how funny it was that my boyfriend thought that. Some people were like, it's actually true. Men should not eat soy. And it was just a very fun way to tell a story and make the users leave comments and engage with the video. So if you can tell some kind of story about your personal life and bring some personality, that would be just as good, even if you don't show authority. And the final thing I've written down is, for a hook, if you don't have anything to say, think about what are the biggest strengths of a recipe. So maybe it's made with two ingredients. Maybe it's vegan because you made a vegan chicken pie and it's usually not vegan, but this one is vegan. And lead with the strengths of a recipe. Maybe it's really easy to make, it's going to take you 20 minutes. So those are some variations of really good hooks that I've seen working.
Okay, I get it. And now, then
Yes.
what?
And then it's thinking about how to provide value. But, and that's very important, you need to remember that when people scroll on Instagram, they want to relax, they want to have fun and enjoy what they're seeing. So it's important to not overwhelm them with so much value that they scroll to the next video. You need to show it in a way that's digestible, and always think of a way, how can I provide the most value in the easiest and most digestible way possible? I feel like this goes without saying, but I've made a few videos where I would show the recipe and say every single step of the recipe or every single thing that I thought was important. And I found that it doesn't perform as well because people get overwhelmed. They don't want to hear the whole thing. They want actually a preview of your recipe and to get what's most valuable from it in the least amount of time with the least amount of effort.
So could you give me an example? Give me a recipe that you did with like what your opening shot was, what you said, and then what the value was that you shared that wasn't overwhelming.
Yeah. So about my professional chef series, the value I provide people is that I give them a free recipe that is approved by a chef, tested by a chef. And what I do, instead of saying add basil to a blender, add tofu to a blender, I just say add all of the ingredients to a blender and toss it with your pasta until well coated or something like that. I don't necessarily need to remind them or show all of the ingredients and tell them how to cook their pasta, for how long to boil it, stuff like that. I just make it as short as possible and as fun to watch as possible. And the value is that first they're getting entertainment because they're not being bombarded with so much information. And second, they're getting a free recipe approved by a chef, or in your recipe, it could be approved by someone who was vegan for 5 years.
If you are looking for an extra boost to grow your Instagram followers, I am talking 24/7. Check out our Milo Tree pop-up app. You install it on your blog in under 2 minutes. And when someone visits your blog, it pops up and says, follow me on Instagram. It plays great with Google, plays great with your ad network. Join tens of thousands of other bloggers using our Milo Tree pop-up app to grow their social media followers and email subscribers. To check it out, go to milotree.com/pop-up, all one word, milotree.com/POPUP. And now back to the show. How long do you recommend your videos be? And by the way, we're talking reels. You're making these as reels. You're not making these as static images. These are not stories. These are reels. So your whole strategy of growing your Instagram has been based on creating reels?
Exactly. I actually have only one static post that I did 2 weeks ago. It was a photo dump of me traveling, and it was just me sharing some of my favorite photos. It was not part of my strategy at all. So I have not posted a single static post in those 4 months that I was gaining those followers.
Okay. So tell me then, how long do you shoot for? How long are your reels? What do you like? How many seconds is a reel?
Yes. So mine tend to be between 20 and 30 seconds. I've actually seen other people doing just like a preview of the recipe for like 4 seconds or 5 seconds, just posting that delicious swirl of pasta or that bite into an ice cream. Those can also go viral and have a lot of views. It's like a little preview, you don't give much out. But mine tend to be 20 to 30 seconds. And I've noticed that the longer they are, the less watch time they have. Of course, it's harder to retain the viewer's attention for longer.
How many cuts, how many clips in, say, a 20 to 30-second reel?
Oh, that really depends. I can have 30 to 40 cuts. It's really important to make your shots as short as possible. I'm talking zero point 0.5 or 0.8 second, less than a second. And you're only putting in your video just the movement, as I said in the beginning, the most important part. So maybe if you lift your knife and you cut into something, the moment you want to show in the video is just the knife going through that cucumber, let's say, and cutting into it. So we're talking very short clips, and they can be a lot of clips, but it really depends on each recipe.
Wow. Okay. What tools are you using to create this?
I'm using CapCut. That's pretty much, I film my videos on my iPhone and I edit them on CapCut. And I do my voiceover on CapCut as well. It's a great tool, and I don't use the premium version. The free version works just as fine.
Wow. So you're shooting, are you, let's say, are you shooting in clips, or are you shooting a long video and then cutting it up in CapCut?
Yeah, well, I'm shooting in clips. So I will shoot the first step, then stop recording, then shoot the second step, third, and then until the end of the video. And I found that it's easier and way cleaner this way for me. But it's also about storage. So if you film one very long video, it will take a lot of storage, which becomes a problem after you have 100 videos or something. So I tend to shoot just the most important part.
And then you're just adding them all to CapCut and then cut. What is your process in CapCut?
Yes, I add them to CapCut. I trim them down until, as I said, the most important movement. And then I arrange them in the way that, so my video start with the finished product, then goes into me biting into the food, then goes into the recipe, and at the end, you see the finished product again. And it's very useful if you can actually do it as a loop. So like the beginning and the end are looping. This also keeps the viewer hooked and engaged. But I occasionally do this. But then I do my voiceover. I do captions, which are very important, and I highly recommend them. And I export the video.
Okay. Is there a call to action at the end in your voiceover?
So sometimes I will say, comment tofu for the recipe. I don't know if you know about ManyChat.
So can you explain what that is? So you will say comment,
yes,
and what's the word you're using to get the recipe?
let's say tofu, comment
Okay.
tofu for the recipe.
Okay.
It's an automation app that is connected to your Instagram. And the moment someone comments a specific keyword, it sends them instantly a message to their inbox. So that's pretty much it.
Okay, so with every recipe, you're giving it a keyword and saying comment for the recipe, comment this word for the recipe?
With the recipes that I have a blog post for, I will do that. For some recipes, I write them in the caption because I've noticed that if you write the recipe in the caption, it has more saves, which are very important for the algorithm. So sometimes I will say comment tofu for the recipe, and at the same time, I will leave the ingredients, because this way people are commenting, but they're also saving the post. And sometimes a post can have more saves than likes, which is always a good sign.
So let's then talk about your caption strategy. So when you say, I'm leaving the ingredients in the caption, are you leaving the entire recipe or just the ingredients?
If I have a blog post for it, I will just leave for the ingredients, and I will say for the full instructions, click the link that I just sent you. And if I don't have a blog post to direct them to, because I don't publish every single recipe that's on my Instagram, I don't publish it to my blog, I will leave everything in the caption.
And have you found a difference? Does one get more interaction than the other?
Yes, one has more saves, definitely. People are saving a lot more, but that doesn't always mean that your video will go viral. In order to have a viral video, you need many moving parts. So you need, as I said, strong hook, good visual, providing value, having it being digestible, using trending music is
Okay.
also very
So,
important. Yeah.
so we'll talk about that in a sec. Let's just finish
Yes.
up on the caption. Are you adding keyword? Are you adding hashtags?
No. So I have not used a single caption.
Hashtag.
And that was, hashtag. That was something that my friend told me. She was like, you don't need to worry about hashtags. I've never used them and I've grown just fine. And I just decided I'm not going to spend time on them. I'm going to leave them out. And it's never been a problem for me. So I think people don't really need hashtags.
So your call to actions are either comment tofu to get the whole recipe, which is where your mini chat will send them a link to your blog post, or you'll say, get the recipe in the caption, or get just the ingredients in the caption.
Yes. Or sometimes I may leave it without a call to action. I actually, most of my viral videos, they don't have a call to action. It's just
Okay.
that the content is so good that people are leaving comment, saving the recipe without having necessarily a call to action.
When you get a lot of interaction, is it because you've got a more controversial video like the one about your boyfriend being worried about man boobs? Like, what gets you comments?
Actually, in my professional chef series, the first one of the first videos I posted got 16 million views. And it was very funny because one of the top comment people wrote me is, you're not a professional chef. You're too young to be a chef. Don't call yourself a chef. You're lying. And it was very interesting because I didn't think about it necessarily, just being like, what will people try to comment about? But it just happened naturally. So yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes. So you didn't even try to be controversial, but they kind of
Yes, exactly.
found something to comment on. Did it hurt your
Yes,
feelings?
it was very hard at first because it was just a lot. I wasn't prepared for all of the views, all of the comments. I was reading every single one, and it just got to my mental health. But after some therapy and working it out, I don't feel at all like they're impacting me. So
So
yeah.
you're not, are you looking now for controversy? Because controversy does create engagement.
Yeah, it's always good if you can start your hook with something controversial. That's always the best.
From start to finish, how long does it take you to create one of these 20 to 30-second reels?
So I am filming for an hour. let's say if I have to get the groceries, maybe it's an hour and a half. And then I am editing for around 45 to 30 minutes. And the voiceover takes, it depends, but it takes around 20 minutes. So I would say a video will take me between 2 and 3 hours to make. And
Okay.
that doesn't count in how the idea for the video came to me in a brainstorming session. That's just it being made.
Do you map it out before? So let's say you go, I'm going to do this smoothie recipe. And then you go, okay, here, you write down your ingredients, you go to the store, you buy your ingredients, but like, are you mapping out, like, here's what I want to show, or are you creating it on the fly?
So if it's a smoothie recipe, I am not mapping it out because it's pretty straightforward. But if it's something more complex like lasagna, let's say, where you have to make the meat sauce and bechamel and putting all together, I am writing down, um, let's say, sauteing onions, top view. I'm writing this down on my computer. Next step, maybe adding salt, front view. And I'm always, this is very important, I'm always trying to switch up the view. So not only keeping it from the top, but showing yourself, showing it from the sides. And this keeps it interesting.
Now, so you start and you say, I'm going to grow my Instagram. I'm going to do 3 reels a week.
Yes.
How has that changed or not over time? How many are you doing now?
I'm still doing 3 reels a week. I've actually found this may be controversial, but you don't need to post every day or even 5 times a week to grow. I have posted 3 times a week, sometimes even 2 times a week. There was even a point where I skipped for 2 weeks because I was just feeling overwhelmed and I needed a break. But the most important thing is not how often you post, it's what type of content you're posting. So start with a minimum of 1 to 2 times per week, and then add to it without the quality of your content going down.
How many videos have you created that have gone viral?
Gosh, I don't know, maybe around, it depends on what you call viral. Is it over 1 million views? Is it over 500,000? Over 1 million views, I would say I have around 5 or 6, maybe 7. And that was just enough for me to give my account kind of this boost that I needed. And once you start gaining followers, it actually becomes easier and easier. Because at first, when people see, oh, this girl has 2,000 followers, they don't have that much trust in you. But the more followers you get, the easier it becomes for people to trust you and to follow you.
That's interesting. When you
Yes.
look at your analytics, what are you studying? What are you learning from?
That's a great question. So I would usually go to my analytics to look at, this is for specifically for a specific video. So I would go into that video and I would see what is the average watch time. And let's say if it's around 7 seconds, I will look at where is the point, where in those 7 seconds, what did I do that people lost interest and stopped watching? That's a very big thing. Just looking at your saves. If a post doesn't have that many saves, maybe it wasn't as valuable to people. If it, what else? Let me think. I'm also looking at which country and which cities are my followers in, because this is very important from brand deals. So, if you have more people from the US, you're more likely to get brand deals because advertisers nowadays are aimed towards the US audience.
Do you feel like your videos over time have gotten better because you're studying your analytics? Or do you feel like sometimes you overthink it and almost kind of go in the wrong direction?
Kind of a little bit of both. Um, they've kind of gotten better because I feel like I've studied the algorithm a lot more, but I also do tend to overthink it and sometimes go back to basics because the first few viral videos I created, I was not overthinking them at all. I was just making them, putting them out, and they were just becoming viral. Of course, there was a lot of strategy involved, but there wasn't much overthinking. So I would say studying the algorithm is very important for you to get better. Even when I'm scrolling on my phone and I see a video that I really like, I will try to study it and ask myself, which part did I like? Or which part made me scroll down to the next video? And to your question, it definitely is hard not to overthink, but I feel like the best videos I've created have just come from a place of being creative.
Do you study your competitors? Are there other vegan
Uh,
food bloggers and you're like, I will go dissect what they're doing and be inspired, not necessarily copy, but be inspired by that. I'm going to try that.
yes, I definitely do that. Actually, my series that I started about being a professional chef, I saw a few competitors do a similar video. So they were like, I'm a personal chef, and this is what I eat in LA or something, or cooking for my client, or just, yeah, I'm a professional chef, and here's what I eat at home after a long day at work. And so I kind of got that inspiration from analyzing my competitors' content. I have to say, it wasn't an original idea. So if you're feeling stuck with creating content, definitely look at what your competitors are doing and what is successful for them, what is going viral, and analyze their videos, and try to think why exactly is this going viral for them? What are people finding? What is the value they're bringing? So yeah.
And how many videos are you started with this series? Did
Yes.
you only make videos in this series? Are you still only making videos in this series? Do you have multiple series? What is your recommendation?
Yeah, I have multiple series. Um, I found that I haven't had found the sweet spot yet for what other kind of series to create. But what I've seen do better is actually videos that are not part of series. As I said, where I'm telling a story. I don't limit myself to series only, because if I start every series with I'm a professional chef and here's what I make, there's not really much space to say anything else. So definitely sprinkle in some other videos that are standalones. I do have other series, but they haven't picked up yet from the algorithm.
How
So
many have
yeah,
you made so far for the I'm a professional chef?
maybe around 15, something like that.
15?
Yeah, 15 videos, which I know it's not a lot, 15 to 20. But as I said, I feel like the strategy is so good that my least watched video from the series has 100,000 followers. Sorry, 100,000 views.
At what point are you looking at your analytics? You post it 30 minutes later, are you in your analytics? 2 days later, are you in your analytics?
Yeah, so I've actually realized that Reels uh, can pick up views even a week or 10 days after you posted something. So I had this video that went viral, but when I first posted it, it had like 100K views, which I was like, that's okay, it's not bad, but it's not like 1 million. And after 10 days, this video started going viral. And that's when I realized that even if a video doesn't seem to be performing well in the first few days, it can take up to 1 month for something to pick up and go viral. So I would say a minimum of 1 week or 5 days to 1 week is where I would start going into the analytics. And I'm even going right now for videos that were 3 months before.
Interesting. How do you deal emotionally when there's a video that you think this is going to go viral and it doesn't? Do you have a sixth sense? Like, are you right more often than not or not?
Yeah, this is a very good question because I struggle with it a lot, to be honest. And I do tend to have a sixth sense. Um, I just know when a video is not gonna hit as hard, or maybe I just didn't make the recipe because I felt inspired. I just made it because I felt obligated. And those videos usually tend to not perform as well. I would say it's very hard to not get affected when you have, for example, I sometimes perceive some of my videos as kind of flops. But I feel like the most important thing to remember is that if a video didn't go viral the first time you posted it, you can always repost it in a few months, give it a fresh new voiceover with a different trending audio, and they can perform actually better than the first time you uploaded them. So never be never throw out a video that didn't perform well the first time, because you never know when it's gonna go viral.
And let's talk about trending audio. What
Yes.
is like your sweet spot in terms of finding it? How many times it's been used? Like, what are you looking for trend? And then how are you doing trend audio? Can you just add it through CapCut? Like, how are you adding the audio in CapCut and also have the voiceover?
Yeah, so I record the voiceover in CapCut and I export it with no music. And when I put my video into Instagram, that's where I select the audio I want. And my way of selecting an audio is very, I don't know, it's just, I just scroll through my feed for, let's say, I put an alarm for 20 minutes and I just scroll through my feed and I will try to remember the songs that I'm hearing. And if I see that, oh, I've heard this song 5 times now, that shows me that it's trending. Or if other, let's say there are 5 other big accounts that I follow, and all of them have used that audio in the last 2 weeks, that's a pretty good sign that it's trending. I don't look at how many uses an audio has, but in general, if you click on an audio and you scroll down through the reels, and most of the videos are from, like, let's say 1 million, 5 million, 10 million, that's a pretty good sign that this audio is really picking up from the algorithm, and it's really trending right now. So I would consider using it if I see that there are a lot of videos with over 1 million views.
So you don't think, oh, that's overplayed. I need to get the audio just as
No,
it's got, just as it's taking off.
no, I actually don't think, I don't worry about audios being overplayed. That actually means that they're just popular and people are liking them and relating to the content. So if an audio has been used a lot, it depends, because was it used 1 year ago and back then it had like 1 million reels created under that audio? If it was 1 year ago, I'm not going to use it right now. But if it's been trending in the last 2 weeks, I'm going to use it.
That's interesting. Now, your friend who got you inspired isn't in your niche. Was
No,
that helpful for you to learn from somebody who wasn't a vegan food blogger? Like, do you look outside of your niche to go, okay, what are artists doing? What are beauty bloggers doing? What are other niches doing? And how can I learn from that? Or do you tend to find food bloggers to be the best teachers for you?
Yeah, I don't really look at other niches, to be honest. I just stick with recipes, but I feel like my friend, her knowledge of the algorithm and social media is so deep that even if she sees a video that's completely unrelated to her niche, she's in art and drawing, but she sees my video that's like a recipe, she can immediately tell me what's wrong with it, why it didn't perform, or why it did perform. And maybe if she has a better hook, she would tell me, like, oh, this hook could have been a better way to get people engaged. But I don't generally look at people outside of my niche. Niche? I don't know how
Yeah,
to
it's
pronounce it.
either. Yes, people have debates over
Yeah,
that. You could probably create a
yeah,
hook and get people to engage on what the right way is to say that word.
yeah, true.
Now, you decided to grow your Instagram following in order to monetize Instagram because as you're watching your page views drop, you're like, I've got to find a new way to make money. How has
Yes.
that been for you? How are you monetizing Instagram? I think people think that if you have $100,000 followers, you're making $100,000, and it's not
Yeah.
simple like that. So explain to me your thought process of how you go from now I've got these followers, now how do I make money?
Yeah, it doesn't work like that, as you said. But right now, I'm creating an ebook actually that's gonna be full of recipes, and I'm gonna promote it through my successful series of What It Is a Professional Chef. Because the thing about those series is that all of the recipes require no chopping, which was something that people really liked. And I've had even disabled people that have messaged me and were like, it's really useful when I don't have to chop anything. It's kind of like my own niche that I've created. And that ebook is gonna be all about no chop recipes, and I'm gonna promote it through my professional chef series.
Milo Tree Cart would be perfect for this as the easiest way
Yeah,
to sell this. Are you collecting email addresses from all these followers?
I'm trying to, but my current strategy is not the best. I definitely think I should look into Milo Tree. I'm with MailerLite right now. I have 1,000 email subscribers or something like that, which I know is low for the kind of followers and page views that I have.
Yes.
So definitely something that I should look into.
Yes. So again, we are rolling out Milo Tree Leads that integrates effortlessly with MailerLite. But this way, you can put together, say, your top 5 recipes, your no chop recipes, let's say, or just do a teaser and say, hey, to get this, go, here's the link, and you'll be able to, your people will be able to put their name and their email address in, and then you've uploaded it to Milo Tree Cart, and then we deliver it directly to your new email subscribers. Plus, you can sell something on the back end. Like, it's such a win-win. But for you, as I'm listening to you, I'm so impressed with what you've done, and you've taught me so much. And I want to say, get those 100,000. How many followers do you have right now?
120,000.
Okay, get those 120 followers and get them on your email list, because on Instagram,
Yeah,
they're there right now. But if you can push them over to your email list, you own them. And it will help you
yeah.
with your SEO, with your authority for your blog. You'll be able to sell stuff to them. And the one thing that you said that made me, again, I get, I hear stuff and then there's like a ding, ding, ding that goes off in my brain, which is just how your friend can look at your Instagram and give you those comments saying, hey, if you changed your hook to this, I bet you'd get a better response. Or, hey, if here's where I can tell people are dropping off. It's like, if you can say to people, I I will consult, and you can hire me, and I will do an audit of your Instagram, and I will give you pointers. I will go through your Instagram. I will tell you how you could have improved these reels, give you ideas for 5 reels with the hooks. You could sell that. Like, that is something
Yeah,
people will pay you for because you've got those eyes.
that's a great idea.
Like, I would go, I
Totally.
could turn that on right now, and like, just like say, hey, reach out to me. We could do this. And then you could set that up
Yeah,
in my Littry cart literally in 4 minutes.
that would be amazing. I'm definitely gonna do that.
Only
Thank you for the
because
idea.
as you're talking to me, like, there are so many things that you have shared with me that I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to, because I was posting on Instagram, got burnt out, was working on Milo Tree and Milo Tree cart and leads and all this stuff, and said, okay, I'll come back. And now I'm ready to come back, but you've given me so many things that I'm dying to try. I've found this conversation so fascinating and useful, but like, I'm going, you got to be selling this.
Yeah, totally.
Okay,
I'm
so
totally gonna do this.
tell me, so you're working on an ebook. How else have you been reaching out to brands, for example?
So since this month, June, actually it's July now, but since last month, I have a social media manager, kind of like a representative, and she's gonna connect me with brands and negotiate for me, which is very important. I tried to do it myself, and I just found out that I'm not good at it. I'm kind of wasting my time because I could be creating content in the meantime. So for me, it was better to hire out someone, give them a percentage of what I make, but for them to negotiate everything and for me to just create the content. So that's what's been happening. And I actually do have a few brand partnerships lined up, which is really exciting.
That's so well. And did you listen to my episode with Anka, where I'll put it in the show notes, where she is creating video for brands and is like, it like, learning from her on how she's done it
Yeah.
is so, and she doesn't have a big following.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. I definitely need to check it out.
I will make sure to send you that
Yes.
episode. So there are a
Thank you so much.
variety of ways to monetize what you've grown, but please get
Yeah,
those people on your email list. Because then
I
you
will
own them. You
definitely.
own not that you own the people, but you own the relationship.
Yeah.
Now, just briefly, what is your strategy with stories or other parts of Instagram? Are you having conversations in DMs with people? What for you are the other areas of Instagram that are working for you?
So definitely when someone DMs me and they're like, hey, I made a recipe, it turned out well, or sometimes says it didn't turn out well, I'm always having a conversation with them, asking them if they enjoyed it or if they shared it with friends. How was it making it, if it was easy for them, just striking a conversation just to know that they can trust me, and anytime they message me I'm there for them and building that relationship. So that's very important. I try to answer most of the people who message me, which is time consuming, but it's definitely worth it. And for stories, I do try to post every day, and I found that the more personal my stories are, the better I connect with people and the more they reply to me and message me and go to my account, scroll through my feed. So, because I don't share personal content on my feed, I keep it for the stories. And I would definitely recommend uh, don't get burned out with it. You don't need to post every day if you can't, but posting a few times a week and maybe sharing some personal stuff that you're comfortable with. Um, I actually, my most watched story was when I felt like I didn't know what I was doing with my life. And I shared that on Instagram, and there were so many people who reached out and were like, oh my God, I feel the same. And it was just a really nice way to get personal with them. And yeah.
So typically just let's say every day, one story, multiple stories. Will it be like I'm at the grocery store? Will it be I'm taking a vacation? What kinds of just what if you feel like you've got nothing to share? What are you sharing?
Well, if I have nothing to share, I would usually do a behind the scenes because it's easier for me. I would just take a picture of me shooting a recipe and say it's coming soon or something like that. And if I don't have something to share, I would usually just, I did that a few weeks ago and it worked out really well. I post some older content and I'm like, guys, if you're looking for a really quick 30-minute dinner tonight, make this recipe. It's an older one, but it's a keeper. And this way, I'm posting my old content, but repurposing it for stories.
Mm, that's very smart. Very smart. And one last question. How do you deal with burnout?
It's very tough. What I found that works is to batch fill, which is not a new thing. I've heard people talk about it, but have one day a week where I film all of the 3 videos that I make. And also plan ahead. That's really helped me to just know that, okay, I've got the content for 2 to 3 weeks ahead. And if I feel burned out, I can take a break without my content being affected. So planning ahead is really important. And then just taking a break. If you feel overwhelmed, I felt overwhelmed in May and I took a 2 week break and it did not affect me at all. I actually had a video go viral after that. So definitely don't be too hard on yourself. And if you're finding that you're burned out because you can't post as many times a week as you wanted to, maybe lower that and see how it goes for you. It really just, you need to be consistent. It doesn't matter if you're posting 3 or 5 times a week, as long as you do it every week and people know to expect your content, it's gonna be fine.
That's great. All right, Petra, if people want to see what you're doing and want to reach out to you and want to hire you so that you will evaluate their Instagram, where should they go?
So my Instagram is the best way to reach me. It's Sunglow Kitchen.
So wait, so say it again.
Sunglow Kitchen. The best way to reach me, my DMs are always open. And I'm definitely thinking of making some kind of course or ebook about how to grow your Instagram in the future. So if you're interested, send me a DM. If you have any questions or want me to give you some advice, I would love to do that.
Well, I have to say, you've shared so much great stuff. You've re-inspired me. So thank you for that. And I've loved this conversation and I look forward to watching your journey. So thank you so much, Petra, for coming on the show.
Thank you for inviting me. It was a pleasure chatting with you.
I hope you guys like this episode with Petra. For me, my biggest takeaway is that it's not as complicated as I think it is. That Petra really broke down so many strategies that I can implement and I will be implementing because I have found Instagram over time to be very frustrating, as if it's a puzzle I cannot solve. So I will be taking many of her tips with me in my own reels. I probably will not spend as much time as she does creating them, but maybe I can add things like quick cuts and movement and a voiceover. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, please do. And you can watch what I'm doing, which is good because it will make me more accountable. You can follow me at MiloTree, super easy. And if you reach out to me, I'll follow you and tell me what your account is. I will happily follow you back. If you want to get on a free 20-minute Zoom call with me to talk about your digital product strategy. This is going away, by the way. I am going to be phasing out these calls. So if you're interested in getting fresh eyes on your business, go to milotree.com. You'll see a link to my calendar. Book a time. I'd love to help reinvigorate you. And if you think this episode is useful, please share it with a friend. If you are liking the podcast, please give it 5 stars on iTunes. I would be so appreciative. And I will see you here again next week.